Okay, again, the net is a two-dimensional drawing. Okay, that can help us see what basic shapes make up the three-dimensional object. The surface area is just the exposed surfaces. Okay, looking below, we're going to analyze the shapes. What's the apex? The apex is right here, and it's right here, and it's right there. Okay, it's the top. Okay, don't forget we have the lateral area, which is the area of the side. Okay. Now, a couple things to note is we're not always going to give you the slant height. That'd be way too easy. You just use your calculator, boom, done. There'd be no thinking. It'd be like you barfed on the page. Kind of gross. So what we're going to give you is the height of the pyramid. Okay, and the height goes straight down to the base and then connects over to the slant height. So this here is your height. And what kind of shape does that make? A right angled triangle. So sometimes for your slant height, you will have to use Pythagoras. Okay. Now notice that if this is your base, the blue line is half your base. Okay, so if this is 8, this would be 4. Okay, because it goes right down to the middle, the center. So that's something to be careful of. Now, on the regular tetrahedron, it will also go down. That's kind of a sideways right triangle. Okay, this here would be half of the slant height because it's half. Okay, it's half of the triangle. It's right in the middle of the slant of the triangle. Okay. Any questions about that? Now we're going to need this for volume. Sometimes you're going to be going back and forth. Right now, we're going to start off pretty simple, give you the numbers. But remember, to find the slant height, you might have to use Pythagoras. To find the slant height, you might have to use Pythagoras. To find the slant height, you might have to use Pythagoras. If you're stuck, to find the slant height, you might have to use Pythagoras. I find if I say that, you actually think, okay, anyway, sorry. Here we go. How many of each basic shape? A regular tetrahedron has 4 identical triangles. So you'd go base times height divided by 2, and then you go, oh, times by 4 because there's 4 of them. Yes, you're right. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's one of the beginning questions. The right square pyramid, what shape is the base? Square. Plus what? 4 triangles. And they're all identical. Only because of the square. Okay. So you got to really recognize, because of course we're going to throw in the rectangle just because we're mean. Okay. And what about this one? Pentagon and 5 triangles, all identical. Okay. Good. So we're going to just quickly draw the net diagram of those 4. Go for it. Okay, so draw the net diagram. So there's the regular tetrahedron, done. There's the right square pyramid, done. And there's the pentagonal pyramid done. Okay. So why don't we need the height of the pyramid to find the surface area? It's because we need the slant height. The height up the side, which is we call the slant height, is the height of the triangles. So you have to make sure you have the right dimension. Okay, don't use incorrect dimension. Any questions? Okay, go ahead, take this 3D shape and draw a net diagram. Now if you want to draw a net diagram a little differently, I'm okay with that. If you want to do the old star net diagram, go ahead. Make sure you label the sides. The base is 8 and 8. And the slant height now is on the triangle, which is really important. That should be 12. Do we care about that 10 centimeters at all? Nope, don't need to know about the height. That's for volume. We just need to know the 12 for the slant height. Okay. Now what they do on your formula sheet is they do base times height divided by 2, and then they times it by 4 because there's 4 of them. So it's for your triangles, plus b squared for the square. So these would be your triangles, this would be your square. Remember there's 4 of them. Now instead of h, they use the letter s. Okay, it's a letter, not the number 5. So they've changed it. Instead of 4 divided by 2, they leave it as 2. Then they go bs plus b squared. So you have to know what all those letters mean. Okay. I never use the formula for this one, but you're welcome to if you want. Okay. You just got to make sure it's a square, not a rectangle. Okay, so substitute in 2 times 8 times 12 plus 8 squared. Okay, so figure out the answer on the front and the back of the addition sign, and then add them up. Go for it. So this would be 2 times 8 is 16, 196? No, 192? Okay, this would be 64, add them up, 256, and that's going to be centimeters squared. Okay, we're squaring those centimeters to figure out how many squares are on the sides. Kind of weird. Any questions, comments, concerns? Again, the important stuff really isn't the calculations. They're going to test you on that stuff, right? They're going to make sure you know what that formula means, that there's a square and 4 identical triangles. Okay, so that's what you really need to understand is the formula. Why is it that? Okay, turn it over. Cones. So the cone, the net diagram, is a circle, and then it's kind of like a dunce cap type shape. Okay. The 3D shape, I start by drawing the lateral sides, draw a circle, and then do a dashed line for the back. Good. Diameter 16. What's the radius? Okay, so this is 16. R equals 8. Okay. Good. Now this one's going to be all formula based. So look on your data booklet, find the formula for the surface area of a cone. I believe it's pi r squared plus pi rs. Is that correct? Yeah. Now again, where do they come from? Well, this is a circle plus the lateral area. Okay, so that's what we're doing, is we're adding those two pieces together. So from a formula, you're going to substitute in surface area equals pi times 8 squared, which is not 8 times 8 times 2, pardon. It's not 8 times 2. Plus pi times 8 times the slant, which is 10. Okay. So what we do is we use our algebra here. Okay. We want to know what's 8 times 8. That's 64. So we have 64 pi's at the front, or 64 times pi. Leave it as 64 pi. On the back, we have 80 pi. So we do our multiplication, and we write our numbers in front. Then we add them up. How many pi's do we have? 64 plus 80. 174? No, sorry, 144. Is it 144? I was thinking it's 77. Yeah, never mind. I'll just shut up. Yeah, it's 144? 144 pi. Okay, so that is the exact answer. However, does the question ask for it? Well, it says round to the nearest tenth. So that means you're going to have to use your calculator and give an approximation. Okay, so this is on your calculator, it's a multiplication, 144 times pi. Everyone grab their calculators, make sure you can find your pi button. If you need a calculator, come up now. Okay, round to nearest tenth. Just need to shoot. Take off the boot. Thanks, Janet. So it'll be 452.4, and it's going to be millimeters squared. Okay. Any questions? Now, in higher level math, they'll never get you go to your decimal, okay? Because we can do more algebra work with 144 pi, and you're going to be doing that later. So it's good to leave as 144 pi, but sometimes they'll go to your decimal, okay? Usually what it is this would be your short answer question, and this would be your multiple choice question. Usually probably how they put it, okay? Okay, next one. Sphere. They have an interesting net diagram. It kind of looks like canoes or kayaks. Okay, all joined up. Okay. For this, find your surface area. It's right from your formula sheet. So go to your formula sheet, find the surface area formula for a sphere. Go have a look in the blue. Good, 4 pi r squared. Okay. Now you could use the other one with the d, but because we're given the radius, let's use that. So surface area equals 4 times pi times r squared, which is 7 squared. That's not 7 times 2. Okay. So it's 4 times 49. 7 squared is 49. So 4 times 49 equals 196 times pi. Now, does it say anywhere to go to a decimal? No. So let's leave it as that. Okay, this will be millimeters squared. Again, this here is your exact answer. 196 times pi. Okay. Good. Any questions? How many people have left answers before like this? 196 pi with circles and stuff? Okay, good. Thumbs up, down in the middle. Awesome. Next one. Sometimes we need to calculate the slant height. We already talked about this. So it forms a right triangle. So sometimes if we're given two measurements, we're going to have to use Pythagoras to find the third. Okay. So keep in mind, this is your radius. That's what makes that little that triangle. So right now, I want you to find the slant. Go for it. Leave it as a radical. Okay, so slant equals square root 274. So now I want you to find the surface area, please. So write out your formula, pi r squared plus pi rs, and substitute in. Okay, let's go to 2 decimals. Make sure everyone has a calculator and is doing this, because this is tricky on your calculator. Be careful that you don't do this. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so you can do that all on your calculator or get an answer plus an answer. Now my calculator, I don't have to worry about it because I don't see a square root sign. So if I say hit the square root button, I just go to my answer. But other people that see the square root sign, you got to be careful you don't do this. To avoid that, use brackets. Okay? Use brackets. Otherwise, you're square rooting pi and you don't want to. Okay? So for me, I'm just 49 times pi plus 7 times 274 square root times pi, and press equals. Okay. I have 517.96. So try this on your calculator. Very, very important you can do this. Enter it in properly. If you're having troubles, come up right away. If you got the answer, look on the back page, analyze the next 2 questions. Good. Penny! Rachel, what's the trick with this one? Because I did ask you to go ahead and look at these 2 questions rather than talk. Hey, so these ones are going to be a little bit harder, and the reason why is because you actually have to find the slant height. Keep in mind that this here is what number? 4, because it's half of 8. Okay, go ahead, find the slant real quick. Go. Square root 41. Is that right? Okay. So if I was going to do work with that, for my base times height divided by 2, I would go base of 8 times a height of root 41 divided by 2. Okay. So that equals 4 root 41. Okay, because I just go 8 divided by 2 part. Now that's one triangle. How many do I have? So I would times it by 4, and I get 16 root 41. Okay, and that here is 4 triangles. Now, lucky for you, they say to the nearest hundredth, so you'd probably just work with decimals then. So you'd actually do this to get a decimal and add it to 8 squared. Okay. So I'm not going to go any further with that because we've already done one of these at the very front page. But sometimes you can work with your square root signs for a lot longer. And that's more pre-calc work, pre-calc 11. Okay. I just wanted to show you that you can do that. Any questions? Okay, let's continue on then. This one's a lot harder because it's a rectangular pyramid. That means there are 2 different triangles, which means there's two different slant heights, you're going to have to do Pythagoras twice. Do Pythagoras twice. Okay. So let's look at my diagram. On the right triangle, going out to the right, I have the height of the pyramid as 16. But what's this bottom line from the middle to the outside? FG. Why is it 5? Good, because it's half of 10. Then I have the blue triangle, which is kind of coming out of the page. It's FH, 16. But what's FH? 4. Okay. So for this one, you're going to have a rectangle. Surface area equals a rectangle plus 2 triangles plus 2 other triangles. So you got to be careful when you're putting it together. Now we're going to give you one of those, absolutely. Okay, so you got to really work out the details. We're not going to go over this one because we've done all the pieces. You just got to put it together yourself. Okay. So homework is the textbook work. What's happening tomorrow? Quiz. Okay, quick little quiz. Okay, get started on your homework. Go.